Hello, everybody. We are so excited to be back with one of our favorite people, Yanke Crystal Lowe. Crystal, welcome back to Deliver Me Podcast. It's so exciting to have you on here. And it's been a few years since we last chatted in person, actually.
Rama Drama, right?
Rama Drama, yep.
But I didn't realize that was a couple of years ago.
It seems like it's been that long.
It seems like that wasn't that long ago, but I guess I had just had my son.
Yeah.
So, and he's 2. So, I guess so.
Yeah.
How is your little boy?
He's really good. Guys, this is way too much TMI, but I was in my room yesterday and I heard something going on in the other room. It sounded like a stream. And I walked into the other room and my son potty trained himself, I guess, and was in the restroom the way a boy should use the restroom on his own. He's 2, standing there with his little butt. And I was like, I was like screaming and excited. And then my son, he's so funny, walks over, grabs his sister's sunglasses, where she had these big heart glasses, throws them on like Elton John, and then gets on his little car Mercedes and just started driving around like he was the boss. You know what I mean? Like he just killed it. He was like,
you went a celebratory lap.
I'm going to take my Mercedes. I'm going to put my sunglasses on. And we were just like cheering and screaming for him. And he was like, killing it. I'm killing life. It was really cute.
That's so
cool.
Funny.
Yeah. I'm very proud of him. Very proud.
I'm so jealous. My youngest is 4 and it took us a very long time to get him potty trained.
Well, my daughter wasn't like that at all. She didn't want to. My daughter was took forever. I mean, if I'm being really honest, I didn't do it. Like the preschool teachers helped me do it. I was terrible at it. But he is just killing it on his own. Like it just wants to, that kid has walked in. He came out and he walked in the world and was like, this is mine. I'm going to do what I need to do. Came out. I used to say when he was 8 months old, wow, you're so entitled. He's 8 months. So he doesn't know. He just acts like this is where of course I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah. He's such a boss. I mean, he's going to rule the world.
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's too great. I don't have boys, so I just have girls, but congratulations to him. I mean,
it's a huge
every
deal.
mom's dream.
Yeah, it was just I'm in my industry, the dreams are so huge and the things we do are so big and grand and you're always looking for the next hustle and you want to do these things. And then the thing that is so beautiful about children is they just force you to stop and go, oh, peeing in the potty is dope, man. That is so good. That is better than anything. And you aimed and got it. Amazing. And, they force you to just sit in whatever we're doing right now and celebrate those small moments. And that is, the best part about being a mom. Because the grand stuff is cool, but smelling the flowers actually and being flowers are cool. Yes. I forgot. Science is fun. Let's talk about dinosaurs. Yeah, that's cool. I forgot. It's a nice reminder.
Mm-hmm. And just seeing how much they learn and grow so quickly. I mean, I think our daughters are about the same age. And so it's that really elementary school years where I forget that they learn so much. And sometimes my daughter comes home and I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So this is a big weekend for you.
Yes, it is.
The premiere week of Shifting Gears. Congrats. All right. So name the emotion that's at the top of the list, because I bet there's a whole list of them. So what emotion is at the top of the list for you?
If this was Pixar's Inside Out, Joy would be losing it right now. You know what I mean? She would be bouncing out of my head. We would be doing karate chop moves of happiness in the back. It's definitely pure joy. Now I'm an artist, so I'm going to beat myself up over everything because that's just what we do. So I'm sure there's also that fear of oh God, why didn't I should have done this? Oh, and also I'm collaborating with a very large brand, right? So that's another thing that I can bring my vision in but it is not an indie film that I'm shooting. I didn't raise the money myself. I don't have total control. I have to work within a brand that is a very well-established brand that really knows its audience, that gets it. So I've collaborated a lot, and that was a really good process for me to watch and learn about, because they know their brand. And that was something that I was able to find my voice while still staying true to Hallmark. That was, very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And for those listening that may not be familiar with the Make Her Mark program, it's a program by Ashley Williams.
Yes.
And you are the inaugural director being mentored. And then I believe, from my understanding, so you were mentored, now you direct, and your mentor shadowed you. And then are you going to shadow somebody else and mentor that person? Is that how that works? It's kind of
it doesn't have to go that way. I don't think that's part of it, but I have asked to do that. So I hope after I've got a couple more of these under my belt, I would absolutely love to mentor somebody else and bring someone else up. But I've been teaching for years and years too, for acting, on the acting side. I love watching people grow. It's almost not better than yourself, but pretty on par, because once you've kind of gotten all these things, you're like, okay, cool. But like watching somebody else come to it for the first time, it's such a beautiful feeling. I got to tell you this funny story. One of my acting students, she's an older Asian actress, and she's Lillian, and she works all the time now, but she first started with me, and I was like, this woman is so good and so cool. She's going to book. And she started booking 60. She didn't start till it was like her second career. She was a dentist.
Wow.
And she called me from her, Lillian Lamb is her name. She called me from her trailer the first time, and she goes, there's a toilet in my trailer. And I was like, that's straight. She's like, I have my own toilet in my trailer. And the joy she got and the like excitement, I was like, you're right, Lillian, you do have a toilet, and I have one too. And it's pretty awesome that we have our own trailers with our own toilet and our own makeup area. Like, you forget how exciting it is. So when I get to watch somebody else go through that again, it's like, you get to relive that all over again. So hopefully I will be able to mentor somebody else in the future. They'll probably want me to direct a couple more before I do that. But yeah. I was the guinea pig of this program. I did the pilot, and so it was a lot of learning curves for all of us, discovering what it was like to put the mentor with the mentee, trying to figure out what the best, Ashley and I have chatted about this before, but here's the problem with directors. Directors want to direct, right? So it's in our nature to come on and take over and try to run the show. So that's just a dynamic that you have to really figure out when you're mentoring underneath somebody. That's not your job to do that. Your job is to stay very quiet and be of service to the story and learn and soak in as much as you can while not getting in the way. And on the flip side of that, when you're in the driver's seat, your mentor has to be able to take a step back and let you breathe. And that's hard for them because they don't want to ever let their babies go, right? So I had Jessica Harmon originally, who I shadowed, and I went with her. She found out, and she's very open about this, I can talk about it. She found out that she was pregnant when I started in Ottawa and was violently ill. And I mean, like, Jessica is one of the toughest women I've met. She was not doing well towards the end. And she hung in there for so long. She came to every meeting. She showed up to everything. And I knew she was pregnant, but she hadn't really talked about it yet because it's the early stages of pregnancy. And then it got to a point where I was like, you need to go. Like, the baby is more important. And so she ended up heading back. And then they sent me another mentor who I asked for, which was LL, who directed The Last Sign Sealed. So LL came the day after I started shooting, and LL and I are just like, I love her so much. She's become like a big sister to me. And we had a good talk where I said, it's almost like I need you to be the mom who took me to the playground. And now I need you to let me go on the slides. And you're probably going to see me bump my head like 15 times. And I know you're going to want to get up and like help me, but it's okay. I'll come to you. when I need you to fix the wound. I just need to know that you're sitting there and that I'm okay, And she was like, got it, no problem. And she was such a huge instrumental help in blocking on the day and shooting. And it was not an easy script that I was given. So I needed that support, and just to know that somebody was there, right, who is dedicated to me to make sure that I'm trained to the best of my ability to perform, and so that I get hired again. Yeah, because really, that's the goal, right? Not to be one, right? To do multiple movies.
So, Crystal, what would you say is the biggest benefit from having not one but two mentors? What was the biggest advantage or benefit that you received from having them there to mentor you and help you out?
I mean, I think I got really, I believe that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, loves me. So I always get, even if it feels like, oh God, what's happening? It always ends up being exactly what I needed. I got lucky enough to have two perspectives from two female directors that are both working constantly in the business. And they both came at exactly the right time. Like watching Jess prep, Jess Harmon is one of the most generous. Her whole family is like that. Alan Harmon, Richard Harmon, who's an actor as well. They don't gatekeep anything. They literally open the door and like spell it out for you. So to follow her during shadowing was the best, because she was like, everything's an open book and I'm throwing you to the wolves and you can do this. And, she has that. And then Lisa came in with this soft, light energy, because Lisa's British and talks very softly and sits with you and goes, how are you feeling? And so she just had such a different approach that I feel like I really got to see that there's not just one way. If you put them together, I was talking to my producer about this yesterday. I'm kind of a hybrid of the two of them already, so it worked out because then I got to see both of them able to run a ship with 150 people in two very different perspectives, and both of them work. So I can pull from either or. I don't have to be one or the other. And that was nice for me to see. That was probably the biggest lesson I got.
Yeah. And that's really good to get different perspectives because especially for that one movie, that's awesome that it worked out for you that way.
Great.
So that's so cool. Diving into some of the other questions, which by the way, the Postables submitted several of these questions. About shifting gears. Okay. So one question is that Tyler Hynes is a big deal in Hallmark land. So the people want to know, how much of a say did you have with casting?
Oh, the cast was given to me, the top two.
Okay.
So my two leads were already cast. But I'll tell you, like when I read the script, I was like, this is Tyler's. Like, I don't know that there's maybe one other actor on the Hallmark Channel, which who I hope to work with in the future. He could have done it as well, maybe, and pulled it off for sure. But really, when I read it, I was like, this is Tyler's script. Like, I can't really see anyone else doing this. This is for him. Also, Aisha has a wonderful relationship with Tyler. Aisha's my executive at Hallmark. They're really tight. They're like, she calls him, I think she refers to herself as his aunt. Like, they're tight. They're really good friends. Aww. And it was just like a perfect combo. And then Caparel, I had never worked with before. And she was awesome. She also was a director herself. And she just directed a movie for Tubi. And like, so she came in ready to play. And here's an Easter egg. Her real life husband is in the film.
Oh, really?
So I'm not going to tell you who it is. Just watch the movie and see if you can figure out. But her real husband is cast in the film as well.
Ooh, that is so fun.
Yeah, and he's great. He's fantastic in it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of casting, obviously, Posta has already seen that Kristen is in the film, and so they would like to know what was it like working with Kristen, not as a peer this time, but as her director.
Well, let me just talk about the casting of Kristen, because Kristen didn't have an option, because I called her and was like, there's no option. Like, you're going to be in my movie, whether you like it or not. So actually her role was originally two different roles. And we combined the two roles together so that we could get her, because it was like, we're not going to waste her on, a small role. I wanted to get as much of her as I could get out of her.
Yeah.
And it just made sense. Like we combined the age for it to be one of Kat's friends. And so it all worked out. Directing Kristen is like, I cannot express how easy, because I know her instrument so well.
How?
It is like, right? I know. And her and I are just, the thing that Kristen and I have, and I think why our relationship is so tight, there's never been any competition with Kristen and I, ever. Not even from the get-go. I looked at her as a mentor and in acting, as I should. She's phenomenal. She would open doors to take me into that. There was just never, and that's rare. Sometimes in our industry, women are often pitted against each other. I think in the world, because there were so few spots for us that, we were fighting for one spot, as opposed to like, there's 8, we don't need to fight anymore. So her and I having that deep love, she sat behind the monitor. She shadowed me during it and was watching me, and sat behind the monitor and would just yell things at me like, drink water, and then because I don't drink water ever. So she would force me to get you drink water and then like bring me nuts and be like, eat something, I felt like having an anchor with me. And if I was stressed or no, she also knows me so well. Like there's I could say nothing. And she's like, you want to go dance outside? And I was like, yeah. Like, yeah, let's go dance outside. It's like having your sister on set. Really. So directing her felt like easy peasy pudding and pie. Like I'm excited for her to direct me one day. Like the two of us she just directed a short as well. With her husband. They co-directed something, that they wrote. It's really good. So, we'll be doing this back and forth for years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, having the support of somebody that you're so close to, and especially within that like the physical proximity too, is something that is so special. And I think that'll just, this will be one of those memories that you'll look back on and you'll just be like, wow. The support of women. I mean, this whole program really is just all about supporting women. And I think that's awesome, especially like, as you said, we're often pitted against each other. There's a lot of competition out there and, sometimes even negativity. And what we really need is just that sisterhood and that camaraderie to, tackle whatever we want to tackle and stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
we also have a firsthand account of how she feels about you. I still remember she said that when you walked in, she said, this woman has a smoking hot body. How is she going to play this tiny little creature who's so shy and so timid? And then you started doing it. And she said that her mouth just fell open. She was amazed at your talent. So the feeling is mutual with the two of you.
It's so funny. Like whenever we travel, like for Rum and Drama, I was like, well, we'll just share a room. I was just like, well, we got both our rooms. She's like, I'm like, yeah, but I'll end up in your room. Right. I'll end up like in the shower after I'm drunk, after, we have a couple drinks at the bar, and then I'll just have to shower and then call in bed because I want to hang out with you. Like we just hang out. We're like sisters. We're like family. Yeah, very much so, So yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. 10 years. We've been, best friends.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Truly.
So now that you have been behind the camera as well as in front of the camera, how do you think that your experiences directing will impact your performances moving forward?
Oh, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because I will be in front of the camera soon. I don't know. I'm going to have to tell you when I get there. It's going to be really weird for me, I think, because now I'm like, my brain is like, I need to compute every single thing that's going on so I can focus and help everything going on. That being said, I was always an actor that wanted to play, that was like, give me direction. Let's try this. Let's try that. But even more so now I will be, the collaborative part of it, because I understand everything that it takes to go through this. I think it's crucial for actors to produce something on their own, direct something on their own, try something. And on the flip side, I think it's really important for directors and producers to go to an acting class and see what you're asking us to do, because what you think you're asking us to do and what you're actually asking us to do are like not usually aligned. Right. I think as a director, that's where I have an upper hand for sure with my actors, because we speak the same language, right? Mm-hmm. These are my peers. So speaking to them is easier. We can talk shop. Right. And I also know when they're pulling some stuff. I've done it, and I'm not stupid, you know.
Like I see you.
So, yeah, you think I don't know what you're doing? I know what you're doing. So you know that makes things easier for me, for sure. I just don't know what it's going to be like on the flip side of that.
Yeah,
right.
You know, it'll be nice. I think. So part of me is like, oh, I'm just acting, but now I have to like get in shape again. I'm like, oh. I gotta go to the gym. Like, I forgot that's part of my job, you know, like, you know, I gotta wear the clothes and do the thing. And like, that part, I kind of got really used to just going to Crafty when I felt like it. I was like, I'm not in front of the camera. I'm going to eat that muffin. I'm going to eat all those muffins, you know?
Right. Well, mm-hmm. speaking of directing, could you describe your approach to directing actors and bringing out their authentic performances?
I think I really like to play the game one for you, one for me, for sure, which is letting them do their work and bring what they've brought to the table. And then maybe like, all right, one for you, one for me. How about this? You know, what do you think about this? Let's try that. I really want to play, and I want to give my actors room to play. That being said, I'm in charge of the overall story arc, right? I have to make sure cohesively that this thing goes. And a lot of times as actors, we're only in charge of that one person's emotions. We're not in charge of seeing how it all pieces together. So when I work with actors, I really want them, you know, I always like to discuss story before, like, here's the overall theme and arc of what we're trying to do. And I think if we can decide before we go into shooting arc-wise where you're at, that gives us both a way for me to communicate. Hey, we're on page 53. You know, we're in the third act. Now, I don't want to get too heady, but if we can do that ahead of time and do that homework before and be like, all right, now we know where this character's journey is going, then I can remind them when we're on the day of like, we're still on act one. If you raise those stakes too high, we don't have anywhere to go. So like, let's just camper and play. But again, you know, I'm saying this stuff as if the general public knows what the hell I'm talking about. But Tammy does know, you know, but this is because I'm an actor and also I'm an acting teacher. So again, the shorthand is easier for me, but I'm always looking for actors who just want to play. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm like, let's take all ego out of this and service the story, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters is what is the story underneath? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to say thematically with this film? And, you know, I think in Hallmark world, we know what it is. It's a feel good, give you hope, bring you love and joy kind of theme, but that doesn't mean we can't dig deeper.
Right.
I always want to dig deeper. Deep, deep, deep. Where did that trauma come from? Where did your father's father come from? You know, I want to go deep into character with them. When I met with the actors originally, I actually said to them, hey, you know, like, I want us to treat this like it's an indie film that I just got X amount of dollars for. Because if this was an indie film, we've got a pretty great budget, you know, so like, let's treat it that way. Let's treat it, because Hallmark makes 90 movies a year, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. I will never treat television movie any different than I'm going to treat a feature film that I've written and directed myself. I'm not going to treat any of it different. I will care just as much for both. I will put every last bit of my little soul into all of them, because it matters. And the Hallmark audience are my friends. Mm-hmm. I have come to know people that watch this network religiously, and I'm not going to placate them, and I'm not going to make them feel like they can't understand bigger concepts. And I'm not going to disservice them by just doing the job. I'm not. I'm going to give them something that I think is beautiful, that feels more rich and full. That's, you know, I'm really hyping myself up here. God, this movie better be good. While still staying on brand, you know, but I'm treated this movie like it was my indie film. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do that for every movie they give me. Every single one. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And I think the viewers can recognize when someone does go deeper and really cares, and they definitely appreciate it more as well.
Oh, definitely. Well, you can tell.
Signed Sealed is handled with a kind of care, because Martha cares about every single word, every word, which is hard when I'm memorizing. But everything is intentional. There's nothing in there that wasn't thought out for hours and discussed, and that's why you can watch Signed Sealed over and over again and find new things.
Yes.
That's how I was trained under Martha. I was trained under people that really care, and I care. So,
And I was going to say, following Jess, that truly fans want rich storytelling. They want depth. They want a range of emotions. Hallmark it's known for, the two people fall in love, there's a conflict, and then the end, they kiss and it's great and stuff. But, in the last few years, I think people really do crave that rich and full story. And I think that's why you find fans that are discovering Signed, Sealed, Delivered all over again, or they're finding some of these other movies that have that rich storytelling within Hallmark. And they're like, oh my gosh, this was like 10 years old. What? Where was this? I thought it was like a cheesy little rom-com. And so it excites me to know that you have a passion for telling that rich story and making sure that there are layers within characters and that we're seeing that on screen. And, obviously the audience is smart, right? So, you can always like pull things out and we'll go, okay, we got you, Well,
and I use this film as a visual storytelling medium. Like you guys will always see it. My whole goal as a director, and it has been for a long time now, and it's taken so long, and it's still going to keep going, is to just find my voice as a director. It's important. I know this is weird for it to be important, but there's some directors out there that when you watch their films, it's them. If you saw Promising Young Women and then you saw Saltburn, you might not like those movies, but that's the same director. If you see Baz Luhrmann's films, you go, that's a Baz Luhrmann film. If you see Wes Anderson, you see, oh, that's Wes Anderson. It's clear because that's their voice. It's a signature underneath there. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I want to have a very clear voice as a director, so that every time you watch a film that I've directed, you're like, oh, that's for sure, that's Crystal. Or you're like, is that Crystal? And then you're going to go, oh, that's Crystal. Yeah, because it's going to have, I love color theory. Love it so much. I love telling story with color. You're always going to see color in my films. In Shifting Gears, you're definitely going to see it.
I've already seen it in the previews.
Oh, good. I have very clear color telling. So I'm wearing a purple shirt today. It's light purple, but still purple. Because, was colors blend, new colors are created. So, everything that's in there was thought out. And every piece matters to me to showcase. So hopefully you'll recognize that when you're watching.
Well, if you need a guinea pig going forward, I volunteer.
That's right. Guinea pig is the best position because nobody knows what to expect. And you're like, me neither. Let's see what happens.
Volunteers tribute. I'll do it.
Well, I think about Ashley Williams. And she did this program for free. It's not like she was getting paid to do this. She created this and went and fought. And then Hallmark got on board and like trained it through with her. Like she made this happen. And to think now in hindsight, I have this beautiful gift of denial. So like, I didn't even think about that. I was like, la, 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 I'm going to make my movie. And then after I was like, oh man, there's a lot of weight on this because if I had failed, who knows if they would want to continue it. Luckily, I never think about anything of that like that until after. I don't think about how much money it was at stake. Like I never think of. My producer was like, "Oh, did you think was that stressing you out?" I was like, "No, I totally didn't even think about that." Luckily,
I think it's probably better that you didn't think about that.
Right? It is.
Yeah.
Him and I were sitting in the car the day of before filming, and I said, we laugh about this now because I was like, "Are there any hills around here?" And he was like, what? I was like, I just want to go roll down a hill right now. Like, I just want to go roll down some hill. And he was like, what? And I said, and I think it's because I equate rolling down hills with like just true joy from when you're a kid and you find a big hill and you would roll down it and then you would laugh and you'd be covered in grass. He's like, you want me to go find us hills to roll down? I was like, we don't have to, but and he laughs about it now because he's like, you should have been terrified. Mm-hmm. And you were asking me where we could go roll down some hills. Like, because I was the happiest I'd ever felt in years, besides my children and family, obviously, but like the happiest. And so I wasn't really thinking about the money.
Right. We are so proud of you. Yeah. And speaking of pride, obviously you have a lot of pride in this film, and you should, because it's obvious that you worked so hard. So if you could pick one thing that you are the most proud of with this film, with Shifting Gears, what do you think it would be?
I think it would be pulling off shooting a show within a show while not sacrificing all the things that I wanted to keep. Because there's a reality show in this show, it was like I had to shoot 2 shows, right?
That's
I had to shoot the reality show, and then I had to shoot the real show watching the reality show. So that was a big feat for a first-time director. And I didn't sacrifice anything. I have to say, though, that my producer, Mike Barbuto, I could not have done any of this without him. I was asking for crazy stuff. You know what I mean? I was like, we're going to move here. I need a Friday Night Lights shot. It has to feel like Friday Night Lights. That's what I'm trying to achieve here. And he was like, okay, you need a Friday Night Lights shot. We're going to make it. We're going to find you like he went to a place. He made everything happen. He really did. And he had my back when I was stressed and was like, hey kid, you got to get in the game and go. Like, there's no option. You got to get back in there. Cause of course that's going to happen on some of the days, where I'm like, why did I schedule 3 moves in a day? This was a terrible idea, on a day where I have like big, heavy scenes and whatever. And he was like, too bad, you're directing, go, so we would not have been able to accomplish what we accomplished without having the backbone of him beside me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah. We're going to watch this with a whole new perspective.
I know. Now you can see it and I'll tell you, like, my little Friday Night Lights shot was not supposed to rain. We had 45 minutes to shoot that entire scene. It started pouring. I was like, oh my God. And that was the day we had 3 moves. We also shot the roller rink that morning. Then we moved for 45 minutes. We also shot another scene that day. And then we also the 3 moves, which is crazy. Like, anybody would have said, this is insane for you to do this, but it's me. And also Barb's, I call Mike Barbuto Barbie. Barbie was like, if you want to do it, we'll do it. We're going to pull it off. And we did. But when it started pouring rain, I was like, and then I'll tell you, my props team came up to me and were like, we have umbrellas. And I was like, okay, pull out the umbrellas. And he goes, which ones do you want? And he happened to have a blue one and a red one. And I was like, oh, this is supposed to be. And when they went up, I was like that wasn't planned. He just happened to have in his props truck a blue and a red umbrella. And that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. It looks so beautiful. When we shot it, I was like, this is so pretty. Everything, everything works out for me. Universe.
Yeah. I think we've seen a little tiny preview. It's the scene where Tyler and Kat are on the bleachers.
That's right.
Hold up the umbrellas. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. A little Easter egg there for us.
Yeah. So that was a perfect moment, because it was like, and it just, when those kind of things happen. And then when they put the umbrellas up, I was like, this looks beautiful. Like, I love this. I had not planned for this, but I'm so glad that this happened. So yeah, you can watch and see. Just know that I was behind the monitor, stoked. My first AD, we were drenched, and we almost didn't get that. You can see in the previews that they're dancing. We almost didn't get that. That was a last minute, like, okay, we're just going to set it up. Go, running in the background, trying to get this moment. Yeah. It was great. It was the best thing I've ever done. It was so fun.
Awesome. All right. So before we move on, our final question for Shifting Gears is, what was your biggest takeaway that you will take with you moving forward?
Oh my God.
Pick one.
Only work with Mike Barbuto. No, I'm just joking. I was like, Mike, I need you to come with me and everything. I think the number one takeaway is to just know that it's going to be okay, and plan as much as you can possibly plan. And then on the day, just be willing to move and shift and flow. And don't be so stuck in your ideas that, you can't shift. I'm pretty good for that as a human being. I like change. I'll dive in, but even more so as a director, and know that like at the end of the day, everything's going to work out. That's what I would take with this, because it was a lot and I was exhausted, and there was days where I was like, where am I? But it all came together, and really involve my team as much as I can. I tell this, I think I've told the story before, maybe not, I don't know. I was talking to my gaffer about my color palette, and he came up and said, nobody's ever told me their color palette before. And I was like, why? He was like, I don't know. They just kind of keep that to themselves, and then we just do the job, right? Their job is to execute the job that we designed. And I was like, well, I'm never going to do that. I'm going to tell all of you my color palette, because, and you know what, in doing that, he came up to me on set one day and he was like, I found the exact purple that you were looking for. So at the roller rink, and this is, if you combine the exact red that you've been using but we can do it. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like he had put so much thought into it. And then I get there and he's like lit it in these tubes and made everything look, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was, sorry, my key grip, but no, I got her. It was, and then my set deck guy coming over and saying, hey, I found this red lamp, and I think in this moment he's starting to fall for her. Why don't I put her red in front of him? Because that can symbolize that and I was like, yes, yes. Like everybody was really together and finding out and coming up with really great ideas. And I'm not going to stop doing that. That works for me. Yeah. I'm going to include people. I might not always be able to take their ideas. But I want them to come with those ideas, and I want to give people a voice to say, hey, I think we could try this based in the world that you've created. That's the other thing. My production designer was like top notch. She's working with James Gunn right now. Like she works on huge, massive shows. She just had no ego. She was like, what do you need? And we talked about it. And I was like, for me, I like to build the box. Here's the color palette. Here's the world. Here's what it's going to look like. And then say to my very talented team, go find stuff within this world. Because I think it's easier to create when somebody has given me the space, like the overall idea to create it. If I said to you, go build the DLO, and you're like, well, I don't even know where to begin with a DLO. What does that mean? What does that look like? I'm like, well, the DLO is vintage, and it's, antique pieces. And I want it to feel like it's a time warp when you walk in. Oh, okay. Then you can be like, hey, now I know what I'm looking for, not just like making something out of thin air. I think that approach works for me, and I'm going to do that with all my films.
I heartily agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the color theory, it is interesting putting that thought into that, because that's not something that I would have naturally thought of. Now, was that inspired by you, by maybe somebody else, like some other?
Oh yeah.
Look up to you, or?
Oh yeah, I'm obsessed with color. The very first movie I saw that it shot, like I realized it was in Moonlight. And if you haven't seen Moonlight, go see that, because it's a perfect example. Beautiful. It won the Oscar. It beat La La Land. Just look at the poster, right? Pink, blue, purple. And it's because it's a film dealing with a man struggling with his masculine and feminine in a place that he doesn't know where he belongs and doesn't know if he can be accepted. And so they used color to tell stories. So if Barry Jenkins is a genius and his DP is amazing, and they did it off no budget, which to me is even more impressive. When you watch that, you're going to see certain scenes where he's feeling something, big pops of pink, right? Like they put lights up, practical lights to make you feel something. All of that stuff that you feel is underneath it. You just don't know you're feeling it. And I love color. I really do. I also want to tell a story with shapes. I feel like shapes have a certain emotion attached to them. So that's what I'm diving into next. But people like Baz Luhrmann, pops of color, right? If you ever saw Strictly Ballroom, like Baz Luhrmann on a budget. He just has one Coca-Cola sign lit up, but you're like, oh, but that's Baz Luhrmann. He just didn't have enough money. Then you go to Moulin Rouge and you're like, oh, Baz Luhrmann with money, he can light up everything. Yeah, I was very inspired by color theory in every film. And actually every big film you watch has a color tone and palette that's specific to making you feel something.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't realize it because you're in the world.
Yeah.
But now you do. And now you're going to be looking.
Now we're going to look for it.
I know.
Yeah, and once you see it, it's like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, I'll have to start really paying attention, especially in the Hallmark realm, because I've noticed, obviously, like in Signed Sealed, reds and blues are very significant. Patterns are very significant in Signed Sealed. The Way Home by Hallmark also, that's got a very specific tone to it. Very specific, where it's, I think it's like a little more muted, greens, blues. You have the modern feel, and they go into the past, and then they go to the 1990s, and then the 1800s, and so there is that color tone. But I've actually never thought about it within a standalone movie. So I'm gonna have to start watching for that more, because
maybe that's what I bring to the Hallmark world that hasn't been pushed as much before. But there are a lot of really amazing directors that actually work for Hallmark that do one-offs that I know they think about it. Linda LL does a lot too, but also each director is the thing. Like Jess Harmon, if you watch her films, like look at the new Aurora, Jess is a genius at shot design, and she loves a oneer. So oneer is where the camera never cuts. It's like one continuous scene. Somebody moves here, moves there, catches. Downton Abbey, that opening scene, I don't know if that's a oneer, but they shot it like it was a oneer, right? Where people were coming in and out of the frame, but the camera keeps moving. Yeah. Jess is like a beast at those, and she loves those. That's her thing, right? It's like when you watch her films, again, you're like, oh, that's Jess. I can see it's Jess because she has like something's moving into another thing. And LL has a different style. That's the thing I love about what we do. I always say that the actor is the paint, right? Like the most beautiful, vibrant color of one color. The director's job is to pick up a paintbrush and grab all those colors and like paint it across the wall and see what you can get and see what kind of piece you can put together. And so every painter is different. And every painter is going to value different things. Like not everyone's going to love color the way I love it. I also used space in storytelling. I wanted to mess around with that, keeping them far apart, then getting them to get closer, not doing dirty overs, just subliminal stuff that you're not going to recognize unless it's just going to give you a feeling as opposed to me putting it in your face.
Yeah.
Guys, I can talk nerd directing talk. Don't put me on here anymore. I'll just go on and on about this.
I love it. I'm loving it.
Like now you analyze every movie.
Yeah, no, we love the behind the scenes.
We do.
Perspective from this other angle, because it's one thing, talking to you from the actor point of view, but it's another fascinating insight going behind the lens, and I think people are always so fascinated about that because like how often do you hear from directors and people behind the scenes, producers and such, and so I love the passion that you're sharing, and it's super, super exciting. But we do have one last question.
Oh, really? Weird. What a shock. I have no idea what you're probably going to ask me.
Yeah. So what's new? What's coming up for you on the horizon? Anything postal?
Any projects?
Delivery things?
Some projects. I have some projects. There's an S on the end of that are coming up. But I am 100% going to be in front of the camera, and it's going to be really fun and exciting for many, many, many people, I think. It's a long time overdue since I've been, in front of the camera.
Will you be wearing spectacles?
I cannot confirm nor deny, so I just will stay in this state.
Righty. Well, that's exciting. We will keep our eyes posted.
Please do.
Anything that may arrive in our
I mean,
mailboxes.
you know, I've said this since like for every interview, I've said this over and over again, just trust the timing, you know, and whenever you're stressed and you need, I always, you know, put that Bob Marley song, every little thing, it's going to be all right. It'll figure itself out always. But I'm excited to get in front of the camera again. Very, very, very excited. And also terrified. So we'll see how it goes. It's been a while, you know?
Well, I'm sure whatever you do, it'll fit right. You'll just slide right back into it. It's just like riding a bike.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are all very excited.
Oh, yes. We really want to see you in front of that camera again.
And I hope to work with Hallmark again, too. You know, I've been talking to them about that, too, because I want to do a movie. Like, I want to do a one-off standalone. I think it'd be so fun.
Yeah.
I want to do a rom-com where I make people laugh and cry. You know, I'll do the bubbly personality thing. That's kind of right up my alley. So
we're chatting a while ago to get you that leading lady.
Well, we're chatting. I've been chatting with you know the execs there too, because the door's not closed for that. It's definitely still open for that. So that would be really fun. I would love to do that. I mean, somebody has asked me would I want to direct a movie that I was in, because I'm a crazy person. Yes. I don't know if it's, and everyone keeps asking me like, would you want to direct a Science Field if that happens? And I'm like, that one I'm not sure, only because I never wanted to service that story. I don't know. Like I'm in it so much and there's so much going on. I would want to make sure I wasn't being torn in too many directions and that I was making sure that the product is still what it needs to be.
Yeah.
But it would be hilarious to see me dressed as Rita yelling action and then running in and then like, you know, and then looking at the monitor. Cause when I'm directing, I look like crap. You know, I wear a hat. I look like I stink. And like behind there, I'm up like this, that visually would be really funny. So just for that, maybe I'll think about it.
I would love to see you in a Christmas glasses. Yeah. I would love to see you in a Christmas movie.
That'd be super fun.
Yes. For sure.
And I think that when you are the leading lady in a movie, you need to advocate for a scene where you're looking for hills to roll down. I think that
would be amazing. I mean, it is like the purest form of joy, right? Just like being ridiculous and like rolling down a hill.
Yes.
And eating some wontons and then like having some noodles. Like this is my dream. Those are all the things I want. It's not a big gap. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's a great idea. Thanks, Tess.
Let's start writing the script.
Yep.
Well, in the last couple of minutes, we just have a couple fun rapid fire questions.
Right.
So, Yami, take it away.
All right. You recently went to Korea, correct?
Yes.
Favorite activity and favorite food? Go.
Oh. It's like impossible. Korea is so dope. There's like a million things to do, but my favorite, I mean, there's like, guys, go to Korea. It is the best. It's so fun. But one of my favorite things was their marshmallow covered ice cream that they blowtorch. So it's like a toasted marshmallow and then you eat it and the ice cream inside. And some of them have mochi in that. Oh, it was so good. Also all Korean food like Korean barbecue, so good and healthy. It's meat. So good. Favorite activity in Korea. Oh, probably. I don't know if you guys ever saw my stories at all, but we went to the Disneyland of Korea. And we took my daughter for her birthday and they have stores there. So if you dress up as anime schoolgirls and schoolmasters, you get a discount to get in. Also, my daughter wanted to dress up. Like they have a store. Okay, so it's in the mall. And then this huge amusement centers in the mall and outside. And they have stores dedicated to just renting the schoolgirl costumes. So like everybody, the boys, the girls, everyone dresses up there. It's like part of their fashion. So we went and dressed up. My husband did it. And we walked out and he was like, "You did this again?" And I was like, "Because you get a discount when you sign up." He's like, "But we paid to rent these. So like what kind of discount do we get?" And then we looked around and like nobody else was dressed up. It was like, and I love dressing up, so I'll do it. My daughter loved it, but he is like, "Are you joking right now?" He's standing there in this like schoolboy uniform. He's like, "Girl, man." But later on, everybody came dressed up and they took photos. And so like, that was my favorite activity. everything in Korea is cute. It's like so cute.
Yes.
So like you wear like matching, couples wear matching sweatpants outfits. Like that's what they do. And I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. Anya.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's adorable.
All right. Next question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
I don't know why, but I think about this a lot. Isn't that weird? I think about this all the time. I would probably say time travel. Yeah. Because you can pretty much conquer the world if you have time travel. First of all, you can go into the future and figure out the lotto numbers. Then you come back, right? Get the lottery ticket. Then I can just pay for whatever I want. I can make all my own movies. And I could travel back in time. So like when my daughter was like a baby, then I could like smush her again, have her like smush her little squish squish face. Like that. Time travel. I think that would be it. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. If you wrote your memoir, what would be the name of it? What would be the title?
The Lowdown.
Ooh, I love it. Someone's put some thought into this.
I really haven't, but that just came out, so I actually think it's perfect. But yeah, the Lowdown, and it would say the like low LOWE and then down underneath. It would like be a tier, just like a little, I don't know. Something. Yeah.
It. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm already designing it, guys. I'm writing my memoir as we speak.
Amazing.
Funny is that everyone would just think it was Rob Lowe's, which is even funnier, right? Because he's like actually famous. And so they get it and be like, who is this?
So that everyone would buy the book and then learn about you. So it's
exactly. Like, when does Rob get into this? Like, when is he involved in this conversation?
Well, by the end of it, they'll be like, Rob who?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Well, gosh, this was so fun, Crystal. We need to do this again sometime. And everybody, go tell everyone you know to watch Shifting Gears, starring Kat Barrel and Tyler Hines, directed by the one and only Crystal Lowe.
And Kristen Booth.
Oh, and Kristen Booth.
Yes, don't forget.
And Kristen Booth is in it too. And the movie airs this Saturday, March 23rd at 8/7 Central. So tell everybody you know. Tweet along with the Heinies, the Postables, the Hallmarkies, the Erpers. The
Erpers, yeah, they're dope too. There's so many. There's everybody. Guys, collectively, we're like and we have the best fans, I think, collectively. Like if we ever got trapped on a desert island, you know, like the Postables would know how to solve a mystery and like write a letter to somebody that needed to be solved. The Heinies would literally rip down doors to protect Tyler Hines. The Erpers would know all the sci-fi tricks, so they'd be like building a boat somewhere. Like we've got everything is covered if we all come together.
I feel like this has the makings for a sci-fi movie.
I think so too. We got to get the Hardys involved though too. I got to find them. I'm like, dear Hardys, come to our side too. We love you.
There are several Hardys who are also Postables, Casey and I being two of them.
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Yep. And
we love you.
We're good friends with Julie and Sarah from Suspenders and Buttons. So, you know, you've got the McGarrys and the Hardys and all of the worlds combined. I mean, it's
we got you. We got you.
Yeah.
It's the best. This is the best.
Well, thank you again, Crystal, for coming on. We enjoyed talking to you, and best of luck to everything and your future endeavors in directing, acting, and all the things.
Thank you, guys. It's wonderful to see all your gorgeous faces. You guys don't age. So congratulations on that.
Well, neither do you, dear.
I feel like we just Benjamin Buttoned ourselves and we're just like all the same. It's good.
I like her. Right. Let's keep her around.
Yeah, let's keep her around. You're great for my ego.
Great. Thank you, guys.
All righty. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.